Homelessness is nothing new for this North Portland neighborhood that lines the Peninsula Crossing trail that for years looked like this.
I've lived here for 21 years now in this house, so it was going a little bit down before.
In May of 2023, the city cleared the camp and built a Safe Rest village in its place. These fenced-off tiny homes meant for many of the same homeless people staying at that camp. But let's just say, over the years, the village got mixed reviews from neighbors who, to this day, would rather not talk about it.
No comment on that particular subject right now.
Since it opened 2 years ago, 40 people moved out of the village and into permanent housing, according to the city. But it's set to close this spring to make room for 50 townhomes meant for low-income, first-time home buyers.
And I was the one that actually set this up by design.
Portland City Commissioner Dan Ryan says this was the plan all along.
It's exactly what Portland needs. We want our housing strategy, our whole strategy, to go from chronically homeless to first-time home buyers.
The Safe Rest Village has stopped accepting new people, and construction of the townhomes begins this summer. Neighbors now bracing for yet another change.
And I think that's a good thing right now, but there's still a lot of concerns I have related to traffic, infrastructure, how they're going to support it, who's going to support it afterwards. A lot of questions. We're stakeholders, so we should be involved in the conversations.
Yeah.
Others, like Fletcher Tripp, will miss the security the village brought to the area, given its history with homelessness and crime.
It's gotten a lot better. I'm worried about not having that presence. The security coming through.
We've got to sustain those, the security and also the cleanup that you constantly need to do in areas such as that.
But then there's people like Terry.
It's going to be rough. Nowhere to go, really.
He's stayed in the tiny homes for the past year.
I was promised housing and it never came through.
Now he's afraid he'll end up back on the street in just a matter of months.
Horrible and lost pretty much. I thought I was going to get a fresh start here, and then didn't happen.
We're told the group running the site is working to move most of the people into other city-run shelters.
They said that there's some classes I have to take, or I have to go to recovery for housing, and that's not what the deal was when I first got here. And that's not my issue. I need housing, not recovery.
I wish best for them. I hope that they can do it, but you have to want that change.
And that right there is something I see often reporting on the streets. People want the help, but on their own terms, and that's just not how it works. As for the affordable housing moving in, it's set to open in 4 years, according to the city's website. And many people, like that homeless man Terry, question if it's really going to be affordable for people like him staying in the tiny home village. We'll keep following this over the next few months to see if the city is able to place everyone in other shelters or if anyone ends up back in a tent on the street. I also want to add, the timing of all of this is interesting, to say the least. While yes, the tiny home village was always meant to be temporary, this closure comes at the same time our new mayor, Keith Wilson, is pitching and fighting to fund his $28 million plan to open more shelter. A natural follow-up question here, so why in the world would they close shelter? Well, I'm told it's not apples to apples. This tiny home village is considered long-term temporary housing with case management and behavioral health services. What the mayor is pushing for are day centers and emergency overnight beds where people go one night or day at a time. His goal is to open 1,500 of those types of emergency beds by the end of this year. Now, a spokesperson for his office tells me those 1,500 beds are, quote, critical components of the broader plan to connect more people to services and permanent housing and end unsheltered homelessness in Portland. We will be watching to see if that happens. But I want to bring it back to the Peninsula Crossing shelter closure in North Portland. It's not just homeless people being displaced, but animals too. The shelter shares its land with the Belmont goats. It's a very Portland thing, a herd of goats for people to visit. Their pen is right next to the tiny homes. Well, they will have to move too to make room for the affordable housing. It's not clear where the goats will go next, but last month, the volunteer group who takes care of them asked the community for suggestions.
We would be excited to hang out with a different neighborhood and, find a space where we can be there for a while.
This herd was meant to stay together and be happy and cared for.
Now, if you know anything about these goats, you know they've moved around the city quite a bit over the years. They're now looking for a permanent home, just like the homeless people right next door. So if you've got ideas on where the goats could go, let us know. We also want to hear your thoughts on the shelter site closing. Email us at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090.